Listen carefully, because what I'm about to tell you will fundamentally change how you see every relationship in your life. Thomas Hobbes understood something that most people spend their entire existence trying to avoid, that human nature at its core is driven by self-interest, fear, and the relentless pursuit of power. He called our natural state a war of all against all, where life is solitary, poor, nasty, brutish, and short. Most people read this and recoil in horror, desperate to believe in the fantasy of inherent human goodness. But you're not most people, are you? You're here because you've sensed the truth lurking beneath the polite veneer of civilization, and you're ready to confront it head on. The brutal reality is that loyalty is not a given. It's a luxury that most people cannot afford when their own survival, comfort, or advancement is at stake. Every person in your life, from your closest friend to your most trusted colleague, operates according to a complex calculus of benefit and risk. They stay loyal to you only as long as that loyalty serves their interests better than betrayal would. This isn't cynicism. This is clarity. This is the foundation upon which you must build your understanding of human relationships if you want to navigate this world with any degree of success or safety. The first test of genuine loyalty reveals itself in moments of scarcity, when resources become limited, when opportunities grow scarce, when the pie shrinks instead of expands. This is when you discover who your people truly are. Watch what happens when there's only one promotion available, when funding gets cut, when social circles contract, when reputations are on the line. The person who stands by you when choosing you costs them something real, something valuable. That person has passed the first test. But understand this clearly: most will fail. Most will calculate the cost and find you wanting when measured against their own immediate needs. This doesn't make them evil. It makes them human, but it also makes them unreliable when the stakes truly matter. I've watched countless individuals learn this lesson the hard way, clinging to the belief that shared history, shared laughter, shared secrets somehow create unbreakable bonds. They discover, often at the worst possible moment, that yesterday's confidant becomes today's competitor, that last year's ally becomes this year's obstacle. The pain of this revelation is excruciating, but it's also liberating once you move past the initial shock, because now you know. Now you can plan accordingly. Now you can stop wasting emotional energy on relationships built on shifting sand and start investing in the rare few constructed on bedrock. The second test emerges during times of conflict, particularly when you're under attack from external forces. This is where Hobbes's insights become viscerally clear. When you're embattled, when your reputation is under assault, when you're facing criticism or even destruction, observe who stands with you and who suddenly discovers urgent business elsewhere. The truly loyal don't just refrain from joining your enemies. They actively defend you, sometimes at cost to themselves. They understand that an attack on you is, in some sense, an attack on the relationship itself, on the bonds you've built together. But here's what you must understand about most people. They're fundamentally cowards when it comes to associating with anyone who might drag them down. The moment you become controversial, problematic, or simply inconvenient, watch how quickly they distance themselves. They'll use phrases like, "I need to protect my brand," or "I can't be seen taking sides," or "This is really complicated." What they're really saying is that their comfort matters more than your connection. This is why Machiavelli advised that it's better to be feared than loved. Love is fickle, contingent, subject to the changing moods and circumstances of those who claim to feel it. Fear, on the other hand, is reliable. Respect born of strength endures where affection built on convenience crumbles. This doesn't mean you should seek to terrorize people, but it does mean you should cultivate a reputation for consequences. People should understand that betraying you carries a cost, that abandoning you in your hour of need will be remembered, that loyalty to you is not just appreciated but rewarded, while disloyalty is neither forgotten nor forgiven. The third test involves what I call the prosperity challenge. This might seem counterintuitive. Shouldn't people be more loyal when times are good? But success often reveals the deepest truths about those around you. When you rise, when you achieve something significant, when you gain power, wealth, recognition, or influence, pay careful attention to the reactions of those closest to you. The genuinely loyal will celebrate your victories as their own, understanding that your success reflects well on their judgment in aligning with you. They'll feel pride in having supported you during your climb. But many others will react differently. They'll experience your success as their failure, your advancement as their diminishment. They'll begin to question whether they deserve to share in your elevated status, whether they've somehow been left behind, whether you still value them now that you have better options. Envy is one of the most corrosive forces in human relationships, and success breeds envy even among those who claim to love you. They'll start finding fault with your achievements, minimizing your accomplishments, suggesting you've forgotten where you came from or changed for the worse. They'll interpret your busy schedule as neglect, your new opportunities as abandonment, your growth as betrayal. These reactions reveal a fundamental truth about their loyalty. It was conditional on your remaining at their level or below it. The moment you transcended those limitations, you violated an unspoken contract they had created in their minds. The fourth test is perhaps the most subtle but also the most revealing: the consistency test. True loyalty manifests in the small moments as much as the dramatic ones. It's revealed in how people speak about you when you're not present, how they represent your interests when you're not there to defend them, how they handle information you've shared in confidence. The loyal person maintains the same respect for you, whether you're in the room or across the world. They don't adjust their portrayal of you based on their audience or their mood. They don't share your vulnerabilities as entertainment or use your secrets as social currency. Most people fail this test repeatedly because they lack the discipline and character required for genuine loyalty. They compartmentalize their relationships, telling themselves that a little gossip here, a small betrayal there, a minor disclosure to the right person doesn't really matter. They rationalize these betrayals by convincing themselves they had good intentions, that they were trying to help, that the information would come out anyway, that everyone already knew. These are the excuses of the weak, of those who lack the moral courage to honor their commitments when it's inconvenient or socially awkward to do so. The fifth and final test cuts to the very heart of what loyalty means: the sacrifice test. When the moment comes that supporting you requires them to give up something they value, to take a real risk, to pay a genuine price, what do they choose? This is where you separate the truly loyal from the merely convenient. The person who will sacrifice their comfort, their safety, their reputation, their advancement for your sake, this person has demonstrated loyalty worthy of the name. But understand how rare this is. Most people's loyalty extends only as far as their comfort zone. The moment the cost becomes real, tangible, personally threatening, they discover sudden ambiguity about the situation, unexpected complexity in what seemed straightforward, urgent need to remain neutral. This is why building a life based on the assumption of widespread loyalty is not just naive, but dangerous. You set yourself up for disappointment, betrayal, and strategic miscalculation. Instead, you must build from a foundation of realistic expectations about human nature. You must assume that most people will act in their own interests most of the time, and structure your relationships, your plans, your vulnerabilities accordingly. This doesn't mean becoming paranoid or misanthropic, but it does mean becoming selective, strategic, and self-reliant. When you truly understand these principles, when you've internalized the harsh mathematics of human relationships, something profound happens. You stop being shocked by betrayal because you expected it. You stop being devastated by abandonment because you planned for it. You stop giving your trust freely because you understand its value. Most importantly, you start recognizing and treasuring the rare individuals who pass these tests, who demonstrate genuine loyalty, who prove themselves worthy of your investment. These relationships become infinitely more valuable because you understand their rarity. You nurture them carefully because you know how difficult they are to replace. You reciprocate their loyalty because you recognize a fellow traveler in a world full of fair-weather friends and convenient allies. These are the people with whom you can build something lasting, something meaningful, something that can withstand the inevitable storms of life. But here's where the real power emerges. When you stop needing loyalty from others, you become capable of inspiring it. When you're not desperate for validation, not hungry for approval, not dependent on the goodwill of others for your sense of self-worth, you become attractive to those capable of genuine loyalty. Strength recognizes strength. Character attracts character. The person who has their own foundation, their own purpose, their own power, becomes someone worth being loyal to. This is the paradox that Hobbes understood but didn't fully articulate. While human nature tends toward self-interest, the most successful strategy for serving that self-interest often involves forming genuine alliances with others pursuing their own rational self-interest. The key is finding people whose interests align with yours, not through coincidence, but through character, not through circumstances, but through fundamental values and long-term thinking. The weak person seeks loyalty by making themselves indispensable through neediness, through creating obligations, through emotional manipulation. But loyalty born of guilt, pity, or temporary obligation is fragile and resentful. The strong person attracts loyalty by becoming someone worth following, someone whose success benefits those around them, someone whose judgment can be trusted and whose word can be relied upon. This is loyalty born of respect, admiration, and rational calculation, and it endures because it serves everyone involved. As you apply these tests, as you observe the people in your life through this lens, you'll experience a period of disillusionment. Relationships you thought were solid will reveal themselves as superficial. People you trusted will fail when tested. Friends you counted on will disappoint when the stakes rise. This is painful but necessary. It's the price of clarity, the cost of wisdom, the tuition for learning how the world actually works rather than how you wish it would work. But on the other side of this disillusionment lies something far more valuable: genuine understanding of where you stand, who your real allies are, and what you can actually count on when the pressure increases. This knowledge becomes your foundation for building a life that can withstand adversity, a network that can survive crisis, a position that doesn't depend on the whims and mood swings of unreliable people. You'll also discover something else, that once you stop expecting loyalty from everyone, you become more capable of genuine loyalty yourself. When you understand the true cost of standing by someone, your choice to do so becomes more meaningful. When you recognize how rare it is to find someone worth sacrificing for, your commitment to those people becomes deeper and more authentic. When you grasp how precious real loyalty is, you stop squandering your own on people who haven't earned it. This creates an upward spiral in your relationships. As you become more discriminating in choosing who to trust, you become more trustworthy to those who earn your trust. As you become more realistic about human nature, you become more valuable to those who transcend its limitations. As you become more self-reliant, you become more attractive to those capable of genuine interdependence. The ultimate lesson here is not that you should become cynical or misanthropic, but that you should become strategic and realistic about human nature, while holding space for those exceptional individuals who rise above its limitations. You should build your life on the assumption that most people will disappoint you while remaining open to being pleasantly surprised by those who don't. You should plan for betrayal while hoping for loyalty. You should depend primarily on yourself while creating space for others to prove themselves worthy of your dependence. This approach requires tremendous emotional maturity and intellectual honesty. It demands that you look at your own relationships, your own behavior, your own motivations with the same unflinching scrutiny you apply to others. It asks you to acknowledge the ways you've failed these tests yourself, the times you've chosen convenience over loyalty, comfort over commitment, self-interest over solidarity. This self-awareness is crucial because only when you understand your own capacity for betrayal can you truly appreciate and nurture your capacity for loyalty. The world needs people who understand these dynamics, who can navigate them skillfully, who can build lasting alliances based on realistic expectations and mutual benefit. It needs individuals who can inspire loyalty through strength rather than demand it through weakness, who can recognize character in others because they've developed it in themselves, who can create value for others while protecting their own interests. As you move forward with this knowledge, as you begin applying these tests to your relationships, remember that the goal is not to prove everyone around you is disloyal, but to identify those who are genuinely loyal. The goal is not to justify paranoia, but to inform prudence. The goal is not to eliminate trust, but to invest it wisely. When you understand the true nature of loyalty, when you've tested and verified the character of those around you, when you've built relationships based on mutual respect and shared interests rather than need and convenience, you'll have created something rare and valuable in this world, a network of genuine allies who will stand with you not because they have to, but because they choose to, because doing so serves their highest interests and reflects their deepest values. This is the foundation upon which real power is built, real security is established, and real success is achieved. Not through manipulation or coercion, not through creating dependence or exploiting weakness, but through the patient, Careful cultivation of relationships with people of character who understand that the highest form of self-interest often involves genuine loyalty to worthy people. When you find these individuals, when you've tested them and they've proven themselves, when you've built something together that serves you both, treasure them, because they are rarer than diamonds and more valuable than gold in a world that has largely forgotten what genuine loyalty looks like. But let me take you deeper into this labyrinth of human nature, because understanding loyalty requires you to confront the uncomfortable truth about power dynamics that most people spend their lives desperately trying to ignore. Every relationship exists within a framework of power. Who has it, who wants it, who's willing to sacrifice for it, and who's willing to destroy for it. Hobbes understood that power is not just about dominance. It's about the capacity to shape outcomes, to influence decisions, to determine the direction of events. And here's what he knew that you must learn. Loyalty flows upward toward power, but only authentic power, the kind built on competence, character, and the ability to deliver results, can command genuine loyalty. The pretenders, those who mistake position for power, title for authority, volume for strength, discover quickly that their supposed loyalty evaporates the moment their ability to reward or punish diminishes. They built their relationships on fear, intimidation, or temporary advantage, and when those tools are stripped away, they find themselves alone, surrounded by people who were never truly with them, but merely waiting for a better opportunity. This is why so many leaders, when they face their first real crisis, when their authority is genuinely challenged, when their position becomes unstable, are shocked to discover how few people will actually fight for them. Real power, the kind that inspires lasting loyalty, emerges from an entirely different source. It comes from becoming someone whose success makes others more successful, whose strength makes others stronger, whose vision creates opportunities for others to flourish. This is not about being generous or altruistic, though it may appear that way to casual observers. This is about understanding the sophisticated mathematics of mutual benefit, the complex calculus of symbiotic relationships, where your advancement genuinely serves the interests of those aligned with you. Consider the difference between the leader who inspires loyalty through fear and the one who earns it through respect. The fear-based leader creates a brittle system where everyone is constantly calculating when to jump ship, where loyalty lasts only as long as the consequences of betrayal outweigh the benefits. But the respect-based leader creates something far more durable, a network where loyalty becomes a form of enlightened self-interest, where supporting the leader genuinely serves each person's long-term goals and values. This brings us to a crucial distinction that most people never learn to make, the difference between transactional loyalty and transformational loyalty. Transactional loyalty is simple. I give you something, you give me something, we both benefit in measurable ways. This kind of loyalty is useful but limited. It lasts exactly as long as the transaction remains beneficial to both parties, and it dissolves the moment a better deal emerges. Most business relationships, most political alliances, most social connections operate at this level, and there's nothing wrong with that as long as you understand what you're dealing with. Transformational loyalty operates on an entirely different plane. This emerges when people believe that being associated with you makes them better versions of themselves, when your success represents values they want to embody, when your vision aligns with their deepest aspirations. This kind of loyalty transcends immediate self-interest because it serves a person's fundamental identity and long-term development. The person who feels they become more capable, more principled, more fulfilled through their association with you has moved beyond a simple transaction into genuine transformation. Building transformational loyalty requires you to become someone worthy of such devotion, and this is where most people fail spectacularly. They want loyalty without deserving it, commitment without earning it, sacrifice without justifying it. They believe that their needs, their desires, their goals should be sufficient motivation for others to align with them. This is the thinking of children, not leaders. Adults understand that loyalty must be earned through demonstrated value, consistent character, and the ability to deliver on promises made. The process of earning this level of loyalty reveals another harsh truth about human nature. Most people are not capable of it, not because they're evil or selfish, but because they lack the emotional maturity, the long-term thinking, the character development necessary to maintain loyalty when it becomes difficult or costly. They mean well, they have good intentions, They genuinely believe they're loyal until the moment their loyalty is tested by real adversity, genuine cost, or significant risk. This is why Nietzsche emphasized the importance of becoming your own master before attempting to lead others. The person who hasn't conquered their own weaknesses, who hasn't developed their own character, who hasn't learned to sacrifice immediate gratification for long-term benefit, cannot be trusted to maintain loyalty when those same challenges arise in relation to others. They will betray you in the same ways they betray themselves, through weakness, through lack of discipline, through choosing comfort over commitment when the pressure increases. Understanding this dynamic allows you to stop taking betrayal personally and start seeing it as information. When someone proves unreliable, when they fail your tests of loyalty, when they choose their immediate interests over your relationship, they're not necessarily demonstrating malice toward you. They're revealing their fundamental character limitations. This person who cannot delay gratification for their own long-term benefit will not delay gratification for yours. This person who cannot maintain discipline in their personal life will not maintain discipline in your relationship. This person who breaks promises to themselves will break promises to you. This knowledge becomes a powerful screening tool as you build your network, choose your allies, decide where to invest your trust and energy. Instead of hoping people will rise to meet your standards, you can observe how they meet their own standards. Instead of assuming they'll be loyal to you in ways they've never been loyal to themselves, you can predict their behavior based on the patterns they've already established in their own lives. But here's where this understanding becomes truly powerful, when you realize that the same principles apply to you. If you want to attract genuine loyalty, you must first demonstrate genuine loyalty to yourself. You must become someone who keeps promises to yourself, who maintains discipline when it's difficult, who chooses long-term benefit over immediate gratification. You must develop the character that you're seeking in others, because character recognizes character, and strength attracts strength. This internal work, this development of your own loyalty to your own highest values and long-term interests, becomes the foundation for everything else. When you've proven to yourself that you can be trusted, when you've demonstrated to yourself that you can maintain commitment when it's costly, when you've shown yourself that you can sacrifice immediate pleasure for lasting benefit, you develop an inner certainty that radiates outward and attracts others capable of similar commitment. The person who has mastered themselves becomes magnetic to others seeking mastery. The person who has developed genuine character attracts others working on their own character development. The person who demonstrates authentic loyalty to their own principles inspires authentic loyalty from others who share or admire those principles. This is not manipulation or strategy. This is the natural result of becoming someone worth following, worth supporting, worth sacrificing for. As this process unfolds, as you develop both the ability to inspire loyalty and the wisdom to recognize it, you begin to understand something that transforms your entire approach to relationships and power. The goal is not to accumulate loyal followers like trophies or assets. The goal is to create a network of mutual empowerment where everyone involved becomes stronger, more capable, more successful through their association with each other. This network effect multiplies the power of everyone involved because it's based on genuine mutual benefit rather than zero-sum competition. When your success genuinely serves the interests of those loyal to you, they have rational reasons to invest in your continued success. When their success genuinely serves your interests, you have rational reasons to invest in their continued development. This creates an upward spiral of mutual empowerment that becomes extraordinarily resilient because it serves everyone involved. The weak leader tries to keep others down to maintain relative superiority. The strong leader elevates others because their strength adds to the leader's own power. The insecure person hoards opportunities to protect their position. The confident person shares opportunities because they understand that building a network of successful allies is more valuable than maintaining a collection of dependent subordinates. This is the ultimate test of your own character and understanding. When you have the opportunity to advance yourself at the expense of someone loyal to you, or to advance someone loyal to you even when it might not directly benefit you, what do you choose? The answer reveals whether you truly understand the mathematics of loyalty or whether you're still operating from scarcity thinking, zero-sum assumptions, and short-term calculations. When you consistently choose to honor and reward loyalty, when you demonstrate that being loyal to you is genuinely beneficial for those who make that choice, when you prove that you understand the value of the commitment others have made to you, something remarkable happens. Word spreads. Reputation builds. The quality of people attracted to your circle improves because quality people want to associate with someone who recognizes and rewards quality. Conversely, when you take loyalty for granted, when you exploit those who've committed to you, when you treat dedication as weakness to be leveraged rather than strength to be honored, you create a different kind of reputation. You become known as someone who uses people, who doesn't value commitment, who sees loyalty as a one-way street. This reputation attracts only the desperate, the weak, and the equally exploitative, people who have no better options or who are looking for opportunities to exploit you in return. The choice you make here, repeatedly, over time, determines not just the quality of your relationships, but the quality of your entire life. Because ultimately, life is relationships. Your success depends on the people willing to work with you, support you, invest in you, fight for you when necessary. Your security depends on having people you can trust, count on, turn to when you need help. Your fulfillment depends on having relationships deep enough to provide meaning, connection, and shared purpose. When you understand loyalty in all its complexity, how rare it is, how valuable it is, how to test for it, how to earn it, how to honor it, you gain the ability to build something that most people never achieve. A life surrounded by people who genuinely care about your success, because your success serves their deepest interests and highest values. This is not fantasy or wishful thinking. This is the practical result of understanding human nature clearly and building accordingly, with wisdom, patience, and uncompromising standards for both yourself and others.